Hey,
Good morning,
David. Good
folks.
morning. How you been?
I'm good. I'm good. It's Sunday morning. Had a couple days off of work, which is nice. Um, I'm actually going to be going to get a new set of shoes today because the work shoes are getting wore out, and I think there's an air pocket in them that has a hole, and every time I take a step, it squeaks.
Oh
So
boy.
it's like I'm walking squeak, squeak, squeak. It's kind of annoying, you know.
Yeah, that can definitely be irritating. Very, very so. So, all right. Well, looks like you got a little bit of shopping to do a little bit later. I'm probably going to be setting my ways today at the house. If it's not raining, then I'll be in the backyard trying to get that all clipped down, looking straight and clean and fresh. So before we get out of here and stuff, I hope everybody's doing good. They are here, hopefully enjoying a cup of coffee with us. Our show's coined Coffee Talk, 49ers Coffee Talk. We both like talking about the 49ers. We talk a little bit about other sports as well, and a little bit about other football teams. But David, the hot topic with the new rule changes and everything happening, you wanted to get underway the parameters, the description, the red zone, if you want to put it, the clear zone, the clean zone. Where can you touch a quarterback, right? Like no good touch, right? No bad touch, right? No locked doors, right? Well, if you guys know what I'm talking about, it's a fun reference. But with a quarterback, they are being like gingerly wrapped, bubble wrapped. They're being overly protected, and at a certain point, they're going to eliminate allowing you to hit them all together. So, David, what's your thoughts? And if you can tell the great people here, how and where can you tackle a quarterback in the current NFL rules, and where are you going to be safe to do it at, and where are you going to get a penalty at?
Well, by the current rules, you can't hit them low. So
Mm-hmm.
anywhere below the mid thigh, you can't do that. And you can't hit them high in the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a section, your torso and, all the way down to your thigh. And that's pretty much it. There's absolutely no rules about, what someone can grab. I mean, there's nothing saying that you can't tie their shoelaces together so they can't take off. But it's like finding the time to do something like that would be epic if someone actually could pull that off. Let's be honest, right? But at this point, it's getting softer and softer. And back in the day, you remember back in the day, a player would get high fives. He just knocked a guy out of the game. Everyone's high fiving him when they get to the sideline,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Now you knock a player out of the game, it's like the player's walking to the sideline thinking, crap, I'm going to get fined, you know? And it's like the mentality, just changing the mentality of the players over the course of time, it's a hard thing to do because these guys play Pee Wee League, junior high, high school, and they're still playing competition leagues at that point when they're playing there just to get more playing time.
Mm-hmm.
And, but by the time they get to the NFL, they've been taught, whack a guy, you got to get him down, and if you knock the breath out of him, you get him out for a series or, stuff like that. But then once they hit the NFL, it's like, no, you can't hit him here. You can't spear with your helmet. You can't helmet to helmet. You can't, hit a guy in the knee. I remember the chop block rule, right?
Yeah.
That's actually been in place for a very long time because it does cause an extreme amount of injuries. And the Seahawks under Pete Carroll used to borderline chop block defensive linemen all the time. I mean, it was just very close to actually being chop blocks.
Mm-hmm.
The refs, if they wanted to, could have thrown the flag on a lot of those blocks. And, they didn't for whatever reason, right?
Yep.
But yeah, nowadays we're getting to the point where to sack a quarterback, you're going to need, you're going to have to be gentle, you know. You're going to have to pick them up like you're carrying your bride across the threshold, a newlyweds, right? And then you're going to have to gently set them on the ground while the equipment guy runs out with throw pillows to put them down on.
Wow.
Things
Okay,
are
so
getting complicated here.
they definitely are. They definitely are.
So
This is a
there's
great
old
picture.
Joe. There's the goat standing next to our current head coach's dad. Is that Steve Young standing back there?
It
Is that number
is.
8?
That
That is
is.
Steve Young standing back there. So look, if you're looking at Joe, you see the NFL symbol right here. That's about the high. That's the highest you can hit a quarterback. And then you go down to what you see where his thigh pads are. That's the lowest you can hit a quarterback. So that's the section. And on top of that, you can't, when you're hitting them, you can't put your weight on them. And I honestly think it's ridiculous, but you can't fall with your weight on them. You got to kind of fall to the side. And I mean, all this thinking that the defensive lineman has to do is making their job incredibly complicated. And if you think about it, it's all meant to not injure the QB. But what about the defensive lineman that's twisting his body weird ways to try to not break the rules, right? It doesn't seem like the NFL cares about the defensive lineman. But, and like Nick Bosa, do you remember that sack? Was it not last season, but the season before? He got flagged for a clean hit. He hit the quarterback right on the numbers, right where Joe Montana's number 16 is. He took him down. He kind of got his weight on. He didn't put his full body on him. He went to the side, took him down, and they threw a flag on him for falling on the quarterback. And it was like, did you guys not just see the play? That's a textbook by the rules NFL hit, right? Pretty soon, we're going to be at the point where it's going to be like, okay, so all we have to do is get 2 hands on the quarterback and it's a sack. We're going to see record numbered sacks when that rule comes in, folks. I honestly hope it never happens.
How are they going to do this, David? Are they going to put flags on the quarterback? You think that's going to be the first thing? Because like other players will still say you have to tackle these other players, but eventually they'll just all shortly but surely go to flag football. Because at this point it's going to be like, well, if you can get 2 hands on the quarterback, he's down. Well, they're not going to just accept that because there's players who get 2 hands on the quarterback and quarterback doesn't go down. So are you going to have to get 3 hands on a quarterback? And nobody has 3 hands. So again, how are we going to, it's gonna get weird here really soon before I think it gets better.
That's the truth too. It really is going to get weird before it gets better. And I don't know if it's ever going to get better because the direction the league's going, we're looking at 2-hand touch. Because, flag football is dangerous, Bryant. Players got to grab at things, and pull on them. So that might be deemed too dangerous, and it might just be 2-hand touch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll see on the replay, did the defensive back's finger graze him? Oh, his finger grazed him. That's 2 hands. It's going to be like, it's just getting ridiculous. Think about Terry Bradshaw. Good guy, great sportscaster, good personality for TV, right? But I don't know if you folks have ever noticed, he's not 100% there. And he played in the 70s. He took a lot of hits to his head. Could it have something to do with that? 100% it could. He was a college graduate. And yeah, he played in one of the roughest times there is to play in the NFL. But then again, you rewind time back to leather helmets. You know, what was roughing the quarterback back then, right? When you hit him and all of a sudden you see that there's like bones sticking out and blood gushing, that's roughing the quarterback, you know. And then eventually, you know, they started making hard plastic helmets, and now we're at these really strange ones. Like you've seen Nick Bosa's got a helmet. It kind of goes flat right here, but it has it has some cutouts on it here and there, so the helmet itself will flex if it's hit, right? Which obviously makes a lesser impact on his head. When it comes to quarterbacks, you can't be, yeah, you can't hit a quarterback in his head, even if you smack him with the hand, whatever, it's a flag, right? But and then you know you see the missed calls, like Brock Purdy. I think it was actually in the Super Bowl. One of the KC defensive linemen bounced his hand off Brock Purdy's face mask. You know, didn't grab the face mask, but he still bounces. That's a 15-yard penalty right there. But, you know, some get missed by the refs. They're human, folks, right? And I mean, you just got to ease them on down. You got to be gentle, you know. You got to have the equipment manager throw up an air mattress so you're putting them down on something soft, you know. Yeah, it's getting complicated, and the reason I'm being goofy, folks, is I honestly think it's kind of dumb. They're a football player. They play a violent sport. They signed that contract to play the violent sport, right? When you sign that contract, you're signing up for everything that comes in. Like, you remember Matthew Stafford. This is what, 2022, I think?
Okay.
Drake Jackson comes in, hits him. And, you know, it was a clean hit. He didn't get flagged.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the game, Matthew Stafford's wife is talking about on social media how Drake Jackson hurt his neck. And it's like, okay, Matthew Stafford signed his contract. He plays a violent sport. You can't expect things to go right all the time in a sport like this, where guys are fully equipped with helmets and they're hitting each other. You can't expect someone to get through a season without bumps, bruises, sprains. You know, am I wrong? You know, the only time that happens is like if you're QB3 and you never see the field.
So let me ask you if this is correct. You're saying that the overall sport is being paid a little bit more. The players are getting paid more. You are having to pay for the game at a higher rate, higher price, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the game is not what it was. There's things being taken from the game. Has there been anything added to the game? So, because what you're saying now is quarterbacks can't get dipped on their head. Quarterbacks can't get hit the way they're getting hit. Quarterbacks are now being paid an extremely amount of money and they're being protected. So what changed? Is it just the price of the living? Is that what it is? Price of livings went up. So what justifies a quarterback to make, $40 million compared to a police officer? Back in the day, a police officer was making the same amount of money as a quarterback was when Johnny Unitas was playing, and even when Terry Bradshaw was playing. Terry Bradshaw wasn't making millions. He might have made some thousands of dollars, but Terry Bradshaw won 4 Super Bowls. Terry Bradshaw had some struggles going on with his coach. They didn't necessarily get along. Chuck Noll, I believe it was the coach. And I know they had the steel curtain, so Terry doesn't necessarily get the accolades and the credit that he should necessarily maybe deserve because it was on 4 Super Bowl teams. But he's like the Jimmy Garoppolo people might consider or say because he was on a really good team with a really good defense and he didn't have to necessarily be the one to carry it. A lot of people make fun of Terry Bradshaw. They said he didn't call his own plays. And that's one of the things that, it's like at that time, if you were a quarterback and you didn't call your own plays or you did call your own plays, depending on the success of your team from that point, people either give you credit or they took your credit away. It's like you're the general on the football field, but you're not calling your shot. And there was times in Terry Bradshaw's career and that Steelers run for the Super Bowls where he was in and out and he wasn't the starter. And it was due to sometimes maybe him getting picked up and dipped on his head. And there was no support, by the league or the NFL to say, hey, let's keep this guy upright. He wasn't the face of the league. So now you have somebody like Tom Brady who comes in and gets clipped in his knee and they make a complete rule change. But the year prior, it happens to another quarterback, maybe on a lesser franchise, maybe not a marquee franchise at the moment, and nothing said about it. And then it happens again, right? And you're like, okay, so it's obvious that you're protecting this quarterback. You're protecting this individual player. When you take, for example, Joe Theismann and him getting his leg broken in half, it takes what until Alex Smith comes back in and how many times does a player have to get hurt and then another player have to have the same injury before you say, oh, this is too dangerous? Well, if it's too dangerous, then why does the price of the job matter, right? It should be about the life. It should be about, like eliminating the injuries altogether. They're not going to stop football, but they are going to keep watering it down until it's not really what it was.
That's what has happened, Well, when it comes down to it, back in the day, even John Brody, those guys didn't make that much money, and it was a rough game. They would probably get money off endorsements and stuff like that, but the NFL back in the day, they didn't pay millions. That didn't start happening until the late 70s, early 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you're looking at $60 million for a QB. So I could see why they would like to protect him, just because of what the guy is getting paid. But at the same time, the NFL has gone towards higher scoring games, right? Because the league average last year actually went down a little bit. And they want to get it. They want to get it up. They want people to see like offensive showing, the NFL. That's what they want to see. They want to see offenses just walking on down the field and scoring. And that's not how it works. The whole defense wins championships. That's actually the truth. If you can stop their offense, obviously they're not going to score points, right? But they're making it harder and harder for defenses to actually do this. Like the hip drop tackle rule change, right? So shout out to Levi, Darwin's Raven. He actually looked at the stats. 22,000 plus tackles last season, right? Mm-hmm. There were approximately 250 that were considered hip drop tackles. Ooh, look at George Kittle. And he looks highly motivated. Oh, the look on his face, that is priceless. Eyes are all big. Yeah, look at that. He's getting hit 2 different ways, up high, helmet to helmet, and in the middle. So he's getting pushed into the number 40. That's TO, ain't it?
Yes. Is that a legal hit? Is that legal now, in your opinion?
No, it's not, because honestly, the way he's holding the ball, it looks like he just caught it. And it honestly looks like his feet aren't totally to the ground yet from jumping. So that would be a targeting, right?
You would think, right? If you were
Hitting
going
a
to call it,
defenseless receiver, that rule is what I'm specifically talking about.
yes,
But
and
yes, the helmet to helmet up there, that's illegal. Straight up. That's a 15-yard penalty in today's NFL.
but that wouldn't necessarily be called if he catches the ball. They're just going to sweep that under the rug. But if he doesn't catch it and it's a marquee player, then they might make some noise, right? If it was somebody like who was the old Cowboy wide receiver, not T.O., but the other one, the one who oh, his name was it Bryant? Was his last name Bryant? I can't think of it right now, but the one who had the infamous catch that wasn't a catch. Somebody, or somebody, who would be loud and vocal on the sidelines. They might get that call, for them made, but no, the rules are written and they're not necessarily enforced the way they're written. They sometimes are enforced at key moments, I guess, or not enforced at the right time, right? Clearly, this guy's jumping up. He's hitting To in the helmet before you said it. His feet are completely on the ground. Do you stop him from coming in the end zone? Well, you have to make a defensive play, but they're definitely hitting him before the ball's even in his hands. So it's really hard. And now with the way the hip drop tackle is, we had that picture of George Kittle up. I'll bring it back up. It's going to cover our face a little bit. But how do you try to tackle this guy? David, how do you tackle him? You grab him by his leg? Okay, so you grab him by his leg. Are you going to tell me half the people in the NFL are going to really be able to pull him down by his leg? They might be able to slow him down a little bit, but you go back to the Saints game in 2019, he had what, 8 guys on his back and he was still running?
You when it comes to George Kittle, you hit him right on the 85 with his shoulder, but you also need to wrap your arms around him and not let him get away because he's not going down easy, you know. But yeah, at this point, you see old number 59's trailing. That guy probably ain't getting the tackle. And George Kittle's probably looking right at the guy he's about to run over to, you know. But you can't hit him in the helmet. You can't hit him in the helmet. But he's also not a quarterback, so you can take out his legs. You know, you can go down low and take his legs out from under him, and that will stop his forward progress, right?
You can't go and take out their knees. You
Nope.
can't. Well, maybe in this case you can because it's not a quarterback, right? But then
That's exactly it.
the
That's
tight
exactly
end
right.
last year, the whole hip drop tackle, they want to keep it from tearing up people's legs and stuff, right? The Geno Smith hit, and then the Andrew, the tight end from the Ravens, he got hurt as well. So David, how do you take him down? You have to hit him like you said in the chest, and you'd have to go square up with him to try to take him down. You're going to have to take him down around his torso area, and hopefully you're strong enough to get leverage on him to take him down. Like you said, he's probably going to run you over. So the only thing I could see somebody like 59 doing is trying to go for the strip. And I see that happening potentially a lot on our team, is us coughing up turnovers because they're not securing the football.
Yes,
George is not.
look at how it's in his hands right there, right?
Yeah, George is not at all worried about losing the football right now. He thinks he's going for the home run.
But yeah, I mean that, and even the guys that bring the ball into their body, when you're getting hit, it could still pop out. Like look at CMC's, Super Bowl fumble, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had it close to his body, and the guy went for it and stripped it out. But at that point, you probably need to have both arms, both hands on that ball to retain it because you're going into a pack of players. You can't be having turnovers in the big game. And both teams had what, two? Yep. Aussie, the guy that
Ozzy
had
Osbourne.
the guy that had the pump fake freaking called back, that was BS, folks. That was BS. That's like the
Oh,
only
so
time he's ever done it.
yeah, and he took a lot of people off surprise, like totally surprised and caught them off guard. So yeah, right now we're definitely gonna have to see what happens. We just have to keep our eyes out, and the rule
Well,
changes. I think we're starting to get used to that every year. It's just getting a little bit
hey,
more.
I was gonna say, did you see Mitch's helmet there? He has
Let's
a
see.
classic style helmet, no
Yep.
cutouts for reliefs for getting hit, none of
Right.
that going on. Couple air holes up top there, but that
Yep.
that that is a classic style NFL helmet right there,
Kind of
just
like
like
that.
that
But
one. Yep.
yeah.
And if you looked at Steve Young, who had his head like that, you'd see there's an air hole up here.
I think that's called the shell helmet. I'm not positive. Let's look at Kittle's helmet. See Kittle's helmet? It's cut out. It's got
Yes,
that flex like you were talking about.
it has some cutouts so the helmet will give a little bit instead of just there. There's another one right there. You see that cutout right there? That's the
Yeah,
primary contact zone when people go helmet to helmet. Is where his cutout is, right above his SF symbol on his face mask.
and it flexes.
Yep.
Interesting. So that the technology is there to keep these guys safe. So to continue to water it down, I mean, do you make a race car go slower, David?
Um, it's not a good idea to do that. You're not going to win the race if you do that. You
But if
know,
you make everybody go slower, right, is the race still the same?
no, it's really not. And you can actually watch NASCAR and see what I'm talking about because they have what is called restrictor plate races, where all the teams have to put a restrictor on the air intake of their car, and then yet they have to tune it to that, so they're not making the horsepower that that car can make, but they're all going the same speed. So it makes it tough to win. You know, there's you have to have a car that's just a hair faster than everybody else just to win that race, or you have to have good teammates that are willing to get in back of you and push you because the whole aerodynamics thing that actually falls into play. There's all kinds of stuff to it. If you make
See,
everyone the same speed, then it's all the same. No one has an edge, right?
I mean, that's kind of it's the same thing then, right? So if you take everything away from these teams that they're currently doing right now and you keep watering it down, you're making it less fast, you're making it less of a tackling game, less of a hitting game, less football, right? You're making it more and more arena football league, right? And eventually then just make it arena football league. Is there tackling in arena football league? I don't know. I don't watch it long enough to see if everybody's scoring, So it's like, hey, if that's what the league wants to go to, then do it. Make all the fields the same thing and AstroTurf, take football away a little bit, make the football fields 50 yards and call it something different than football, right? Arm ball or something like that. It's not football. Take the kicker out of the game too. Let's get fun, right? But then it's not football anymore, is it? So they're gonna have to figure something out, David. I think it was a good conversation today. I really do. I think we had some good points. How you feeling about a draft? You want to do a draft real quick before we get out of here?
We could. So Jason, Captain Niner Massey, I'd say he has the best hat in the NFL, but he now has a first mate, TJ, who's got the same hat. He got promoted though. He's not swabbing the decks anymore. He's the first mate now, folks.
Well, he says BA agent denies the rumor that he asked for a trade. Well, I hope so. I like BA, but I like a lot of players and they're not all on the 49ers either. And BA needs to go to a different team to be, felt a little bit better, or maybe utilized, hey, can't hate the man, right? It's about that green dollar bill that we're all chasing, right? Because the more money you get, the more problems you have. I mean, the less problems you have, right? That's the way it works out, right, David? I mean,
Yes.
you know, there's an example, having a fast car and maybe having another fast car. You might want to race them, and shout out to Rashid Rice for that's our Kansas City guy, right?
Yes.
You are on top of the world and you make a mistake, and hey, that might have cost you a lot more than you think, right? Sure, could have cost a lot of lives. And I'm not here to, not here to point blame or say anything like that. That's not it at all. But you got to be careful. And you, again, it's about your life, right? And other people's life. And you have a very small opportunity or a great opportunity to do what you're doing in life and make money and be able to drive a fancy car and a fast car like that. So you do. Life is very short.
But if you have a fast car, though, you got to be responsible about it. And, Rashid Rice wasn't.
So does this open up a door for BA to go to Kansas City? I hope not, but
Oh, my goodness.
definitely. I mean, he wants to go to a team where he would be utilized, right? And that
I'm
definitely
getting
could
more
be
coffee. BRB.
no worries, no worries. That definitely could be a landing spot for Mister BA. I wouldn't like to see it, but yeah, we're gonna do a draft here in a few minutes and run through it really quickly. And we got Teardo and Jason popping in, and let's see. He says, Tracy Chapman, you got a fast car. Yeah. Uh,
That's
you
a
know,
classic. That's a classic.
you know,
Yep.
gotta be careful. Even if you're driving a Volkswagen, you still gotta be careful. Cars are fast, and sometimes you're not paying attention, or you're doing something and you feel real good, and then you're not necessarily just paying complete attention. And sometimes being overexcited is not necessarily the best thing either, because sometimes you shouldn't be behind a wheel. And again,
Yep.
we've seen it happen with a lot of players, a lot of wide receivers recently too, David. If I'm being honest with you, it's like we've had some really top notch wide receivers, first round picks, get get into a car and make some bad decisions, some real bad decisions.
Yes. And
There are
I have a car. I have a car. It ain't slow. My Camaro. It ain't slow. Slamming on the gas, it does get up to speed really fast. But when it comes to enter the city, you can't do it. The car is too fast to be messing around on the city streets. It is. Because when you're shifting out of first gear and you're going 50 miles an hour, you're already breaking all the CP limits in the city, so you just can't do it, right? And yeah, that car is kind of it's kind of insane. It has the I bought it used. Yeah, the former owner put a GM factory cam upgrade on it at the dealership. So it is not stock. It looks like it is, though. You pop the hood, it sure looks like it, but it's not. And it is. It's too fast to be messing around on the city streets. And these guys, it's not like they don't have money. They can go to a track, they can get a track rental, they can have them some fun, in a proper environment, right? That's how I look at it anyway. Although we're down to the motorsports campus, not sponsored YouTube in Utah, because Rocky Mountain Raceway, which was my favorite place to go, shut down and is getting turned into a subdivision, unfortunately.
I like cars.
Man.
My whole family, we all like cars. Cars are a lot of fun, and you got to be careful. You really got to be careful. And
Brent, you want to hear fun though? So at the Rocky Mountain Raceway place, I believe it closed in 2017, somewhere around there. They used to have this thing on Friday night, and everybody, you got to take the day off of work and head down there to get entered in, because it was run what you brung. Like anything goes, so it was so entertaining because you saw cars that had no business going up against each other, going up against each other. You know, you had motorcycles, trucks, freaking you name it, it was on the track. It was always fun though. You know, it was like, nothing ever got out of hand, and yeah, occasionally someone rubbed a wall or whatnot, but there wasn't typically a big wreck going on. That was incredibly rare to happen down there. And I mean, they also had rules though. If your car is so fast, you have to have a cage, you have to have a 5-point harness, you have to have like. I actually went down there with my Camaro, and after one pass, I got kicked off the track because the time I went, which I'm not going to divulge, put me in the category of needing a roll cage and a 5-point harness, and I do not have those.
You know,
So
there's a pretty cool place to go do something like that around here, and yeah, it's fun if you're safe. You know, they check your car, make sure you got good tires on it, and certain things like that, and then they let you race. But you know, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. But if you want to do that kind of stuff, there are places to be able to do that stuff. Doing it on the open roads and stuff like that, and doing it because you think you can pay the ticket is a little bit, I don't know. See, again, more problems, you know, more money, more problems, right? You know, or you think you are out of that because you can afford those problems. Nobody can afford those problems.
yeah.
So,
Well, I didn't when it happened. I didn't get mad because I realized at that point that I probably needed to ease up a little bit so I could make some more passes because I just got into the realm of having a roll cage and 5-point harness. You know, that's the time I hit. I was like, oh, this, I knew before I even freaking turned off of the strip to go back. You know that they're gonna tell me I'm done, so I can't be mad at them. It's the track rules, you know. But
yep,
yeah,
the rules.
everyone was surprised too. All kinds of people wanted to see under my hood, and that's just GM sold a cam upgrade, and the shout out to the former owner of the car. He had all that done before he even took the car. But anyway, so you want to get rolling here?
Yeah, let's run through one real quick if you like.
All right, you want to just no trade, stay at 31?
Yeah, it's up to you. We'll just play how you want to go.
I think we'll go no trades, although I do think we're going to trade up, but that's just my opinion, folks. You never know what's going to happen on draft day.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers dropping. Oh, did you see that? We'll look at the trades in a second. JC Latham actually dropped a ways on this one. He dropped
Yeah,
to
yeah.
30, and Baltimore snagged him. Those.
Wow. Lucky, lucky, lucky.
Man.
See, there he
Look at
is
all
again,
these guys
David.
we got here. Xavier Worthy, isn't that the guy that ran like a 4.240?
I'd be
I'm
leery of
surprised. I'm
him.
surprised the Raiders didn't draft him. He has the fastest 40 time.
Shout out Al Davis. If you know, you know. Get that
Yep.
old paper out and take your finger down, look for the fastest 40 time. That's who we're trying.
So at this point, there's no defensive lineman. Well, there's Darius Robinson. Is that the Chop Robinson I keep hearing about?
I believe so. He's at 35. That's higher than our pick.
It is. I mean, you have Tyler Guyton, which, like I said, I've watched film on the guy. He reminds me of of Mike McGlinchey. So
We did this.
I'm kind of leery about him and Mims because Mims only has 8 games starting in college.
We
So
did this. We did this last night, and I feel like Nate Wiggins is in the same selection that he was last night. I feel like he
I
really
know,
just
and
is going to be a pick if that's there. I
well,
take Bo
at
Nix.
this point, we do have Chavarius Ward's going to be a free agent, so you know how we do it a year ahead, right?
Oh, let's do it then.
Ooh, it gave us an A+.
It's because that's what they're trying to push us to take. You know.
I know it's the recommended. Maybe this next time, if it's recommending a different position, we'll look at a different group. All right, so Houston's that's not a good trade. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's
That's
too
a
much.
lot to move back 20 spots. I'm gonna put that on the back burner. That's the Rams though, so I don't really want to help the Rams. Let's be honest here. There's the tight end again.
You say Rams and shout out to Corona. He pops right in. I mean, like, is that fate or I mean, like, come on, man.
Poor guy lives in LA, but you know.
Hey, blue
So
skies
the
are everywhere.
one guy right here, Chris Broswell from Alabama, that would more than likely be the pick here if we were the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? You have the second best tight end in the draft on the board. We have Chris Broswell,
No,
Javon
I don't.
Bullard, safety.
It's because they took tight end last year. I don't, and they took it at a third round. I don't see them taking him this high. So what else
And
is on the board?
hey, that's the brutal honest truth. I think the pick here is either Chris Broswell or Chris Jenkins. Let's look at offensive tackle and see what we're down to there. Oh boy.
Yeah, I think you're going to find your offensive tackles further back in the draft.
Probably
Later in the
94, 94 or 124 is what we're looking at here. And the Roger Rosengarten is a dedicated right tackle.
He's just too high.
I don't think he's played any left tackle. Look, Javon Foster dropped to 128. That's insane. He's behind Chris Jones. But yeah, either way, we're going to have some tackle options a little later, right?
I would imagine so. I think you're right. We go back to the edge.
We're either taking the edge or the interior defensive lineman. So Chris Broswell or Chris Jenkins.
I say we take Broswell from Alabama.
And you never know what's actually going to happen, but having edge depth, that's something that we definitely need.
Well, do you think Drake Jackson's coming back, or do you think he's going to be playing more than one game this year? I mean, we let Chase Young go,
That's
right?
not enough. Adam Peters is on the phone. Rams are on the phone again. No thanks. And the Vikings, no thanks.
I agree.
Hey, look at that. Look at that. We got Karen Amagadi. I took a wild stab at it. I don't think I said that right.
Drake Jackson, for whatever reason, he didn't come into the NFL in game shape. He needed to put a lot of weight on in the locker room and the weight room, and he just wasn't able to do it.
That's true. That's true. And we'll see that this year is it. If he can't do anything, we might end up trading him for a stale bag of chips that's been opened in half ate. But we got I'm targeting three guys right here. Karen, the offensive tackle from Yale right there. I don't want to hack up his last name again. Blake Fitcher, the offensive tackle from Notre Dame, and Cedric Von Prawn, the center from Georgia. At this point, I mean, what do you think? Which one of these three guys? I mean, Blake Fisher's played left tackle. Von Prawn is a dedicated center. He can play guard, I'm sure.
For me, I would be taking Trotter.
The linebacker?
Yeah, that would be what I would think to take. Because with our injury right now on linebacker, this would be a good spot to take a linebacker. Potentially, we could see what we got. He might get a lot of playing time.
I honestly think that we did take D. Winters and Jalen Graham last year.
Yeah.
and we signed Campbell. I'm not sure if we're going to be drafting a linebacker, in the first 3 rounds this year.
Okay.
Just from that factor, I wish if we would have seen more from D. Winters and Jalen Graham,
Yeah.
then we would know for sure right now if we're going to be taking a linebacker. But that's the
The
problem
reason
with
I'm
Kyle
throwing it
not
out
playing
there,
rookies.
the reason I'm throwing it out there too is because we took them in the later round. Like late. It was what, 7th round pick
Yes.
or drafted free agent. So that's why I'm thinking maybe we take a linebacker that has a little bit more talent. But we don't have to take one right here. Taking one at 86 is definitely 94. That's a good pick. But if you're looking at, again, taking somebody for the line, I guess the guy at Yale, I can't pronounce his name, so that'll be fun.
I can't pronounce his name either, Bryant. That's kind of a problem.
That's probably what the Niners will do, though, because they'll make us have to learn how to read his name, huh?
Yeah.
We should take him then.
Okay. We're gonna have to Wikipedia how to pronounce his name. It gave us an A+. We're still on the high honor roll. But yeah, now's where we start thinking about our wide receiver 3, which could Ronnie Bell be wide receiver 3? I honestly think he could.
Yep.
Could and no, Cowboys, I am not taking any trade with you. Chargers, nope, that's all next year. That's not terrible, but not great. I'll put that one in my pocket. That's not a bad trade, but it's the Cardinals. That's a bad one. I wouldn't do that. That's a bad one. I don't
really like trading with teams.
I don't really think we're going to be trading on this pick. Oh, look, it's the guy that we constantly take and need to watch some tape and do some research on. Mahogany. The thing about Boston College interior offensive linemen are reliable. There's a history there. Right? In the NFL, I'm not talking about 49ers. I'm talking about NFL. Boston College guards, interior offensive linemen are reliable. Anyway, what position do you think we target here? There's another guard. There's that small wide receiver. I don't think he would last long with us.
Edge, and offensive tackle. So take Mahogany for the pick. It's worth it.
He is the best value, right?
Yeah.
We have one trade offer. Trent Baalke has an injured player he's looking at.
Oh boy. That's true.
He likes his injured guys. He does.
They're pushing us to take offensive linemen in this whole draft.
Oh, you know who's gone?
Wide receiver Braden Rice.
Yep. And that's the guy I was targeting for the Juwan Jennings replacement for the future. But then again, you never know what Ronnie Bell could do. He could end up in the Dante Pettis situation and be permanently placed in the doghouse until they cut him.
Well, I think Ronnie Bell has a lot of opportunities to step up because we don't have Ray anymore. As far as
Raiders.
That makes sense.
Brendan Rice is on the Raiders. Picked him.
Wow.
At 112.
See, taking him at 94 isn't crazy, folks. People don't like it. They're like, oh, he's a legacy player. We don't want to take him. Okay. Watch him go play somewhere else and be great. You'd be like, oh, we should have taken him. Yeah, you should have taken him.
Well, I don't expect him to be like his dad. You can't.
He can be better than his dad.
Jerry Rice is like a lifetime best wide receiver in the NFL. There will be no other wide receiver in the history of the league that will beat what he did.
I don't know,
You know,
David. I mean, like, think about it. He's supposed to be like a little taller, a little faster. He knows what the numbers are his dad put up, and the way the offense is in the league is moving. They're gearing for more scoring. You get on a team where they can feed him the ball, and he might surpass his dad in the long run.
that's true. He might. You never know,
Just,
right?
just won't be the same game, though, right?
That's right. But with Luke McCaffrey is still on the board. I kind of feel like he'll be there at 135.
We can't take him either because people will think we're homers. We don't want that to happen.
All right. All right.
Even though we had Ed McCaffrey, too many McCaffreys on one team, right?
These guys are recommending wide receivers. There's Mohamed Kamara, but we already took an edge.
And why are they pushing us to take a wide receiver? Is Danny Gray not on our team anymore? Did they not account for him?
Well, that's the thing. We have Debo, Ayuk, Jennings, Danny Gray, Ronnie Bell. This is just under contract right now, right?
Yes.
And then we have Conley. I mean, that's probably the 6 wide receivers we're going to see unless they draft someone and they, beat out like Conley, and Conley ends up on the practice squad again, which you never know with Kyle, right?
That's right.
So what's the pick here? We got inside offensive line, tackle, edge, and corner. Running back?
Everybody would be so mad if we take running back.
I know.
Linebacker. Oh, but we already took a linebacker, right?
No.
Take
linebacker.
Take linebacker.
I honestly think this is going to be the area we look. University of Kentucky, Tevin Wallace.
But if you take that guy right there, Ula Fosho, he'll be fun.
Just saying, I'm taking him just because, I'm not going to be able to say his name. And wow, the Rams are offering a lot for that. Let's put that in the back pocket. Look at the board. So it's going to be pretty much the same group of players. As you can see, the running back is just hanging out because the NFL doesn't value running backs anymore.
No.
Look, Dwayne Carter, inside defensive lineman right there, Duke. So he's smart.
If you want, take him.
Man, I think it's kind of all right because we need the good young defensive linemen.
Yep.
Especially with all the contracts we have coming up, the cheaper we can get at positions with depth, the better.
We got a lot of guys
we need depth on.
We got a lot of guys that are just 1-2 year contracts. So, if we get a defensive lineman when we let somebody like Armstead walk, it's going to be a little bit cheaper for our pocket for just a couple seasons, right?
Yes. There's Sony Vaki, the guy we've met with twice.
And we took a safety yet? No.
Oh, look at who it's recommended. It's recommended Luke McCaffrey right here.
We'll have to say hard pass. Take a 138.
Sony Vaki?
Yeah.
And no, I don't know if that's actually how his first name is pronounced, folks.
It might be Sayan. I don't know.
It might be.
We'll have to do some pronunciations. Hooked on phonics.
McCaffrey just got drafted. But honestly, I look at Luke McCaffrey, and I honestly think that if they're going to take any one of the legacy players, it's going to be him. Maybe Frank Gore Jr. late. but it's gonna be Luke McCaffrey because he's 6'2", runs a 4.4 40. You know, he's
If
a
I'm correct,
McCaffrey.
Marvin Harrison's son is Marvin Harris' son is in the draft too. I think he's a wide receiver as well.
He is the top wide receiver prospect according to all the scouting websites and anything you can pretty much read scouting wise. He is the top prospect.
Interesting. Another legacy player, another legacy family.
NFL legacy player. Yes.
Yeah, it's projected to be great, huh?
Oh, Jordan Travis. Now, the only reason I kind of like this QB is his name. It just reminds me of like a movie villain, Jordan Travis.
Take him. I'm for it. It's not that I don't
mean,
like Brock Purdy. I just need a quarterback that we can depend on. And if we get a quarterback in
what the crap is that?
in the draft, they got to see something in him for the amount of time that he played. So if he's played significant time in college, then I believe he can come into our team, and with the weapons that we have, they can work around it.
Sorry about the ad, folks. That didn't even give me an option to exit out. That's messed up. Yeah, well, we'll take us in because it's a cheap QB for 4 years. We're about to enter Brock Purdy's contract situation anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
There's your tight end.
Which one?
Oh, which one?
I actually I like Eric All because we're familiar with that school when it comes to tight ends. George Kittle.
Yeah. Take him for the price. The price is right.
It is. Price is right. Gave us an A+ at 215. Dang, we
Right.
only have one B, and it was that linebacker that
It was only
show. You know, it's like
it was because we took him 4 picks early. We took him at 136.
All right, so now we're at the point. We're at the point where this guy's probably. We have not drafted a wide receiver or a running back. Wow, we really haven't drafted a wide receiver.
I kind of like Matt Lee, to be honest with you.
The inside offensive lineman.
Yeah, he's from the U. He just sounds like a good guy.
I'm just curious. I know he's probably gone. He is. Nope.
There he is.
He fell down the boards.
We haven't been drafting him. If you want him, you can have him. I think.
Well, at this point, we could hope to get him a free agent wise. You know, 266. Why is he falling down the boards?
They've been listening to you talk, David.
Well, I say, hey, I say I want him because he's a good scat back. You know.
Well, take him. Don't take Matt Lee. Take Gore.
We're taking Matt Lee.
All right.
I know it's insane, right? But now we have all kinds of like inside offensive line competition going on, and that's an area we need competition going on.
We took 3 linemen.
We did. We took 3 offensive linemen. We need good competition going on there. You know, we need to see improvement, and the only way to see improvement is introduce some competition, right?
It's the only way
we took an interior defensive lineman, 1 edge, a linebacker, 2 edges. No, 1 edge, right? Did we only take 1 edge? Yep. Took a safety, which that safety could end up being our kick returner because he plays both ways. This guy right here, Sione Vaki. He was a running back and a safety. Could end up being our kick returner, folks.
I think it was an A+ for that pick. That's
it does. It did at 176. Gave us an A+ for corner Nate Wiggins, which that inspires competition in that group too. But you have all pro Javarius Ward. You have a guy that's in a contract extension talk with us. Diamador Lenore, right?
They keep pushing us to take a corner, and they keep pushing us to take him. I don't know. It was Kool-Aid for a long time, and now Kool-Aid seems to have fallen off a little bit. Yeah.
There's a medical history, and this is something the Niners seem to have taken into account this year with all the players they're actually getting. They're looking at medical and injury histories. They want guys that aren't getting injured. When John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan first took over, they were like risk versus reward. We're getting this guy that's injury prone but has a really high upside, and then he never, panned out, never would pan out for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now it just seems like, that it's a different direction we're heading. We're going into we want reliable guys that are going to be on the field. And it's good to see him heading in that direction, right?
Yeah. David, it's been a lot of fun, man. I like doing the drafts with you. I think we make some good points with each other. And I think we've seen some, the draft boards going up and down and we've been seeing some patterns. And anybody who's been following along with us, I think they've seen the patterns as well. They are definitely projecting us to get somebody, right? And you say, well, yeah, it's good. You're going to draft somebody. No, but what I mean by that is we're definitely going to get a legacy player. It might not be Gore. It might not be Rice. It might not be McCaffrey. Who knows? It could definitely be
Tariq Owens. You never know, right?
But
that's one thing we didn't do. That's one thing we didn't do, man. We didn't see where he was.
I think he's.
Remember but you remember how I was meaning to actually look to see where he was?
Yeah.
So I'm busting out a Google machine number 3 here. I got a few going on. I'm going to go like I'm drafting, and I'm going to search until I find him.
So tomorrow night, we're going to be on David's show. The Coast to Coast will be David tomorrow night. So make sure you go to David McNiner so you can see me and Ty Austin and Mr. McNiner. And then let's see, trivia night Wednesday. And then we'll be back at it on Friday, and Saturday we'll be doing our normal coffee talk, and Sunday as well. And then here soon we will be doing the draft. It's going to be a lot of fun, folks. So you'll see some notifications. I'll be posted on the YouTube community, on Twitter, and on Facebook. And if you guys are, out and about and you can't watch the draft, but you want to listen to somebody, doing something about it, we'll be doing some reporting. We'll be talking about the players and, definitely letting you know who's being selected at the time, because we will be covering it live. So definitely tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun. David?
Dude, I can't find him in the top 500 at all. At wide receiver. I'm looking through safety, and I just hit 500. Where is the guy?
Well, don't know. I would have to say maybe only the shadow knows. So we'll have to find out. We'll have to keep searching. David, it's been a lot of fun. Folks, thank you very much for coming. Please like and subscribe to both channels if you haven't. And if you get a chance and you want to pop on the other side and hit the like button, we appreciate it. If you're on Facebook, if you don't mind subscribing on YouTube, just subscription, they're free. We appreciate it. Same thing as being on Twitter. If you're following us, maybe you follow us, the other person. If you're not, same thing. And if you're ever interested in being on the show, just reach out. There's emails and there's ways to drop links and chats and all that good stuff. So just let us know if you're ever interested, and we'll try to see you guys next time. And with that, David, thank you very much as always. Family, faithful, stay positive, and we will see you. Go Niners.
Go Niners. Corey Davis to say F all 31 other teams.
Yeah, that's right. Not all everything faithful. Yep, not everything out there is real. So definitely Read between the lines, folks.